There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Are we going?
Yeah, I'm gonna treat you like a firework. Yeah,
You're
I'm
gonna-
gonna set you on fire. Yeah.
Well, you don't. All right, that's Marcus Parks. I'm Ben Kissel. With us as always, we got this guy over here.
Yeah, I'm Danny the Pyro. Yeah, I set your bush on fire. Hey, girl.
Danny the Pyro.
I've never had a date. You know.
No, you
it's
haven't.
kind of
Why
been-
not, Danny? What's
mean,
been holding you back?
I don't know. I just thought that women would appreciate my passion. You know, the inner. I'm
Well-
gonna say flame inside of me, but when you open up about how you just love to see the buildings go up in flames and how I just, first
Right.
opportunity I'll set a bush on fire. It's just hard to find that willing participant.
It is. Women
It's
do
hard
like
to
a
find
man.
my yin to my yang.
Right. Women do like a man with passion, but like a passion for the arts or a passion for, fine
What are you
cuisine.
talking about, like setting fire to pictures?
Right, yeah, or steaks.
You can't just set fire to a woman's bush hair and expect to get a date in this fucking... What am I supposed to do? It's my one skill.
And everyone has to have something, And it's a great skill.
I feel bad for the pyros out there that
I do
can't
too.
find love.
I do too. Ladies love a pyro. If you see a pyro, go give him a kiss today. It's National Pyro Appreciation Day.
Every burning church is a poem to you. Every burning mailbox full of his shit is a poem to you. It's like a mix CD.
Right. It's very
Date
nice.
a pyro, save a church.
I've
That's
heard
what I
that.
like to say.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
I
Actually,
agree.
fuck the churches. No, I'm
that's what I was
sorry I even
asking.
said
Why?
that. Yeah, my blood just ran cold when I said that. No, date a pyro, save an orphanage.
Yeah.
Save an orphanage.
Better.
Well, speaking of burning churches, fires, and flames, God knows burning churches and fires and flames
What?
occur mostly during wartime.
Sure, good segue.
Yeah, good.
Oh, I'm the king of the segue. The king of the segue.
Oh, yeah, because you don't walk anywhere. You just use
That's
your
right.
fucking segue.
I'll lean forward when I want to go forward. Today we're going to discuss a very unique kind of serial killer. A serial killer that they are under the radar because on the radar is a bunch of warships that are bombing, warplanes just bombing the shit out of your town. So what I'm telling you is...
Again, you did one
Serial
big long
killers.
run-
I'm doing good here. Serial killers during wartime. That's what we're discussing today. Under the radar, murder.
A lot of this is
Serial killers during
opportunity killers too. These are people that you take. There are thousands upon millions of casualties already happening, and you could just toss some on the fire there. Like one of the theories behind the Zodiac killer was that he was a hitman who was killing other people dressed in a costume in order to cover the one hit that he was paid to do. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is extremely fun.
And specifically, we're doing World War II killers here. And I think the interesting thing about serial killers is that these were in places where there wasn't a whole lot of ground warfare going on. So God knows what actually happened out there in the countrysides of France and Germany. And
Never mind like
places-
Vietnam and in fucking
Vietnam,
Afghanistan. I still
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
there's a lot of weird shit that happens that we just didn't uncover in our research.
Yeah.
Because
or just
it's
was never reported.
Well, with World War II, but I mean, with Vietnam, I think it's fairly well known the tortures that
Yeah, because
everyone
how do you know
was-
that Private Milwaukee didn't frag his crew when they're all
Yeah.
out in the jungles of Saigon, up to the knees in muck, fight for our goddamn freedom, and they get back and we hand them a Pepsi Cola can and a slap on the back and say, "Thanks for serving your country, you legless old man." And then
Well,
he's just,
they were very
waving a
rude to the
flag.
Vietnam-
I'm just saying
the
that there's a
Vietnam
lot of things
vets.
out there that make my blood boil.
Why are you Vietnam vets did not
I'm
get
going
the
to
free
start changing
cola?
this show called Blood Boiling with Henry Zabrowski.
Blood
It's me-
boiling?
Yeah.
I do not sign off on this.
No, it's me getting stuff out of stuff that makes my blood boil. Like,
You are
when
in
the
not-
tip of your shoelace falls off and you can't get it through the hole again.
You're just not in good enough shape for it. Can I just say that? You can't have a show
God.
called Blood Boiling because it's really a medical problem.
Because my blood is boiling.
It's too hot.
Yeah, I can
It's
feel
too
the
hot.
blood. Sometimes when I get mad, I feel my eyes get bigger.
And I can see them get bigger, bloodshot. Very
Yeah.
scary. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So there are two main guys.
That wasn't sincere.
No, it was. Thank you for that. Blood Boiling with Henry Zabrowski. Oh, everyone's going to love it.
Yeah, when the hot pocket's cold on the outside but burning hot on the middle.
Hi, that
Gets
makes
my blood
boiling. Love this guy's show. All right, so we're going to cover two main guys. Do we
Yeah.
want to start with Gordon Cummings?
We'll start with Gordon Cummings.
Yeah.
And there's
Cummings.
one more thing I want to say before we get to as far as the rest of the world goes in World War II. There were places like Russia, and I know Russia is very reticent to report on crime, serial killers. That's why Andrei Chikatilo was able to operate for so long.
How many he killed? What, 42?
54.
Yeah, 54.
54. He is, as far as we know, he's one of the top guys. 54 that they can prove.
Yeah.
He was able to operate for so long because the Russians just didn't want to admit that there was a serial killer in their midst, and they didn't want to tell people that all was not kosher in the
that they in their
Russian,
socialist
government.
police
Well,
state
yeah.
didn't have everything under control.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want people worried while they're in those bread lines. You know,
Yeah,
they're already
yeah.
worried about enough stuff: starvation,
'Cause the
overall,
thing's
like survival.
Russia was full of butt slashers.
Oh, yeah,
Some guys just going, you're
constantly.
waiting for toilet paper, and he goes,
Yeah, these two guys were the only documented ones that I could find, at least out there. I mean, there was, as far as like World War II goes, and even during World War I was only able to find one guy, and he was just a Bluebeard that took advantage of war widows.
What's a Bluebeard?
Bluebeard's a guy who sleeps with women who've lost their husbands for their money, gets all up in their shit, and makes them fall in love with them, and then murders them.
Yeah.
Takes their money.
Yeah, it's essentially making
It's a
a
brilliant
woman
business model.
It's making a woman fall in love with you, and then you kill her after you gain control of her assets. That's when you murder her. There
I'm
was a guy in
sorry to
World
all the
War
women
I.
that fell in love with me.
Yeah, that's why you're so wealthy right now. We have to rush with today's podcast because after today's show, Henry, you are extremely busy. What are you doing?
I'm picking up a record receiver, a
That's
sound
nice.
receiver, and getting my pants hemmed.
And you're gonna go get your pants hemmed.
Yeah, because I have a 38 waist and a 27-inch inseam.
Well, look at that. Look at a little Catholic Kennedy schoolboy.
Mommy,
I must get my pants hemmed, mommy.
I don't got anybody to do it for me. So I'm taking applications for ladies who want to come hem me pants.
They don't. They don't want to do
come
that.
on,
though.
I'll pay you money.
This is why you weren't able to get
Pay you
anybody.
money to stay.
They're not falling in love with you, Henry. You're not going to get their assets.
Just come and stay. Just, these old hallways of mine. Just me and the spiders and the rats. That's what I live in my old mansion on top of a hill.
Well, you got to have something to eat. That's not bad. That's good protein in a spider.
Great protein.
Solid protein.
Our first,
Let's do this.
Yes,
do this. Our first guy today, Gordon Frederick Cummins. Cummins.
He was how will clean up me Cummins.
He was known as the Blackout Killer and the Blackout Ripper, which I think is a fucking great name for a serial killer.
Yeah, Blackout Ripper's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a band name.
Yeah, the Blackout
Blackout
Ripper.
Rippers.
He was an English spree killer who murdered 4 women and attempted to kill 2 more in London in 1942. He did all of this during the London blackouts, and if you don't know what the London blackouts are, from 1940 to 1944, the whole of London was under a complete and total nighttime blackout in order to prevent the Luftwaffe.
The Luftwaffe.
The Luftwaffe.
Well, they didn't
You know,
want
your
nice, beautiful
your grandfather
skin.
used to shine the planes for him before they started flying over there, right?
The Luftwaffe.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
That would be the German Air Force.
Oh, it just sounds like they're just like bombing them with a bunch of great loofahs and things like that. You come out with smooth
Yeah, that's
skin.
exactly what it was. That's why
that
they
what
had
it
the
is?
gigantic blackout.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what
interesting.
your grandfather was doing. Yeah. He
Are
was
we
just
bringing up my
sewing loofahs.
grandfather
Yeah,
again?
that's all he was doing. Yeah,
He was under the
he was
sea
just
like the
packaging
Little
teddy
Mermaid?
bears that they were sending over to Poland and into London. At the
My
time.
Opa was like a little Sebastian down there, playing with the crabs under the sea, singing
What?
songs, playing with Ursula.
That doesn't make any
That's
sense.
possible, though. I had more of a Disney memory of my Opa.
The London blackouts, they were essentially to prevent the Luftwaffe from finding London and bombing certain targets during the German Blitz. So this guy, Gordon Cummins, he decided after 2 years in the blackout, we don't know why, but after 2 years in the blackout, he decided it was time to do some killing. And some
these are the people
hardcore
they
killing.
found too.
Yeah, and these are the people that they found. Maybe he was doing it beforehand. Maybe
Sure.
he had more victims. They weren't able to really link him to anyone else. But in a period of 6 days, this guy killed 4 women, attacked 2 others on the morning of Sunday, the 9th of February. The
It
body.
took him 6 days to do what Bundy did in 15 minutes. Please, you lazy Brit. You're lazy.
And every time he killed them too, he was just like stab, 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 playing with their boobies, playing with their boobies. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I've got to get my pants hemmed now. Very interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to go to the crumpet store to test the stiffness of the crumpets. Oh.
Oh, that's good. God damn it, man. Get out of here. It's stiff enough. All right.
On Sunday, February 9th, the body of teacher Evelyn Hamilton, aged 40 or 42, was discovered in an air raid shelter. She had been strangled. There were no signs of sexual assault, and her body was not mutilated. The killer had either placed her in the shelter after death or launched his attack when he found himself alone
You just
with
sit
her
right there.
within its
You be
walls.
safe. So sorry again. See you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheerio.
And so this guy, I think, has an honor of fastest escalation in serial killer history.
Yeah, he did he just did, it's like a time-lapse video of it, a serial killer's career.
Yep. His next victim, Evelyn Oatley, the next day was found dead in her apartment in Soho. She had turned to prostitution and was using an assumed name, Nita Ward. The actual
That's really great prostitute name, too.
Nita Ward?
Yeah,
That's
it's like,
amazing.
Hey, Nita Ward. And now we all be like, my name's Gump.
Yep.
Pussy Gump.
Pussy Gump. That sounds good. I'll take you.
Yeah, you want a date because all I got is farts for you, baby.
That's
Come on
okay.
over here. I'm sorry. I got my fucking pussy's all closed up from being sick earlier today.
Well, this is
So
really
the only thing I got is the back. Come on over here.
magnifying my intense loneliness here. I'm going to say yes, Pussy Gump. Thank you.
well, the actual cause of
I
death
wish they
of
could
Nita
be more like Nita Ward. Remember them? Yeah, they were great. Those nice British prostitutes.
Killed all of them.
Ah, yeah.
The actual cause of death of Nita Ward was strangulation, but her throat had been cut after the actual death, and she was naked. Her body had been sexually mutilated with a can opener.
And he's like, oh no. Oh, there's no peaches in there. Oh, I better go back to my war rations. Oh, and no peaches in there. How will I make me crumpets? How will I make me Scottish pie?
Oof.
That's sad, though, yeah. Back to the dehydrated foods.
Poke.
None
I'm
of
sorry.
these-
Yeah, this was not the crank can opener, by the way. This was the actual tin opener that had the triangular point at the end.
It's just a knife. It's a stabby
essentially-
thing.
It's a stabby pen
Yeah.
knife, and there's a lot that a man can do to some sexual organs with a can opener.
You can do a lot of things with sexual
Organs.
organs with a lot of different things.
Yeah, what's your
There's a lot of
favorite thing to
stuff.
do with them?
I don't know. I like to treat him kindly.
Yeah.
You would just cuddle with the organs?
Yeah, with just like a little bit of like a feather, like a little
Just play with the liver.
Yeah,
Poke at it a
but
little
you can
bit.
rub a bell on it.
Oh, that's sweet.
A lot of different weird things you could do to genitals that don't necessarily hurt them.
Two things.
You know,
A feather
two
and
things.
a bell.
Yeah. Dip them in some toothpaste.
That's just if you want to clean them.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know where that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
On the very next day, Tuesday, the 11th of February, another prostitute, Margaret Florence Lowe, also known as Pearl, which is a classic
Great
prostitute name.
name.
Yeah.
She was murdered in her apartment. She had been strangled with a silk stocking and mutilated with both a knife and a razor blade. The pathologist who found her, Bernard Spilsbury,
Fucking these British people.
It's ridiculous.
He went over there twisting his baton around, going like, "Something must be done here."
well, actually, what he said is that the injuries that she sustained were quite dreadful.
Quite dreadful. I've never seen anything like it. No, well, off I go, because I'm sport tea with Mary Marjorie.
And he
Burping
described
down the
the murderer as a savage sexual maniac.
That's great.
This is how I used to describe myself in the old Oxford days. But now I'm just a constable serving the street. Well, I better go and have a spot and stew over at O'Garnery's.
Sounds like a pretty busy day. It's kind of fun.
It's like my day.
Yeah. So this is 2 days after the first Evelyn was killed.
This is
and
3
he didn't
days after.
sexually.
No, he did the one
He
that was
didn't-
just murdered. The second one was sexually assaulted. This was further sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
I mean, it kept going more and more. He kept bringing more implements into it, and he was also experimenting. He was, as all serial killers do, he's experimenting, he's exploring, he's trying to find exactly what sort of killing he really enjoys. He definitely settled on sexually mutilation.
Because it's also I imagine him like a John Cleese in like Faulty Towers, going like, oh, the races, he's like dropping him in the toilet, going, oh dear. I guess I'll use a plunger then.
I mean, maybe do something with her butthole with the plunger there.
What if I just lick it? No, I kind of want to cut it.
Yeah, I think cut it's probably better. After the person dies, there's a lot of material down there, material waste.
On Wednesday, on the 12th of February, he murdered Doris Jeanette in a second floor in a 2-room ground floor apartment that she shared with her husband. She was known to be in the habit of picking up servicemen. She was strangled with a scarf, and her naked body was sexually mutilated. His thing was it was strangulation, then sexual mutilation.
And how would he
after they were
sexually
done.
Same thing with
mutilate
Ted
these?
Bundy.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. No, you just
Well,
like,
there
you know,
was-
you
but there
kind
was
of
no
wave
neck
a
ref-
fork at the vagina. You stick
Yeah.
it, stick it. You probably like, play with the belly button and like going like, I love you.
Yeah.
And you're like, shut up, shut your fucking mouth.
You're not my mother.
You know,
stuff
you're not
like
my
that.
mother. You're not
Yeah.
my. You can't tell me the rules.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying stuff like that. You know,
Right.
Put me under the staircase. Playing with her boobies a little bit, bite them.
Right,
You know,
right.
stab her, put a bunch of toothpicks in her face, be like, oh, look, it's acupuncture.
That's kind of fun for the eyes, though.
Yeah,
huh?
lots of fun. Lots of things you
Yeah,
can do. Once somebody's
20/20
dead,
vision.
you know, it's hard to convince a girlfriend to do it.
That's tough to be a doctor.
It really is.
But this guy didn't have sex with the corpses, though. He didn't dabble in the necrophilia, much like Bundy.
no.
It just says sexually mutilated. It mentions nothing about rape.
And so, what are the? I mean, what you just cut out the pussy? Is that what happens here? I mean,
What are you talking about? No, you stab at it.
You just stab at it
Yeah.
with a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, an
Exactly.
example of sexual mutilation would be Ted Bundy using the hairspray can to jam up
Jam it
that
up
woman.
in the-
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
That's
right.
a
Cut your nipples
sexual-
off and put it over your eyes, being like, I can't see, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like sexual. That would be sexual mutilation. Absolutely. They
I
didn't
would
go
still say
into
Ted Bundy jamming a hairspray can up a woman's pussy is not as bad as what Twisted Sister did with hairspray.
I'm still just
You know,
going to say,
the
you know,
'80s rock
I'm
fucking
gonna say
phenomenon
you're wrong.
of hair
I'm
rock
just
of
gonna go
hair
ahead and say
metal.
that you're- no,
hair
I'm gonna
metal
say
was
no.
worse for
I'm gonna
hairspray
say
than Ted
no,
Bundy. I'm
because
saying it.
It's an entertaining form of rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's just rock and roll. It's just them
it's
having a
not
good time.
rock and roll.
It's
Yeah.
not sexually humiliating a dead woman.
Well, you can't humiliate the dead. You can't. You can't humiliate the
Keep
dead.
moving. Let's keep moving.
What?
You know, that's a
let's keep-
controversial stance.
That's a real
That's
controversial
what we'll say.
stance,
We're
but-
going to say, you know, like we're going to call Hardline with Ben Kissel. It's going to be your new show.
Yeah.
Where you're going to take these opinions and do that on your new show.
Yeah.
Hard line.
Pushing
Ben
the
Kissel.
envelope with Ben Kissel.
Does a corpse feel sad? Let's watch Schindler's
It is
List
if
together.
you cut a frown into it.
You can do a bunch with it. Have you ever played with a Mr. Potato Head? Now imagine it's a fucking dead dude.
On Thursday, Gordon rested. No
Oh.
murders that day.
Like
Well,
God
Jesus
did.
moment.
Like-
And
yeah.
just him sitting, just reading a newspaper, just been like, oh, the horses ran fast today. Oh, my pecker's stiff. Oh, it's because I'm looking at these pictures of the dead woman I did in the newspaper.
Evelyn, Margaret, and Doris. It was like the names that he killed. Evelyn, Margaret, and Doris.
You can add Greta to that list.
Oh, and a Greta.
For on Friday, he attacked Greta in an alleyway, did not kill her because a delivery boy heard the scuffling.
Hey, out there, you better watch what you're doing there. Oh, well, I got to get all these tea packets back in delivery.
Get out of here.
Cummins ran off, but he left. And this does kind of does play into your bungling serial killer theory because he left behind his Royal Air Force issue gas mask. The container was marked 525987. It was easily traced and linked back to Cummins. However, the police were still under this investigation when 1 hour later Cummins attacked another woman. And I want to bring in an actual British person to tell us the story of what happened next.
I love their accents.
Yes,
Oh,
they're fun.
and this is one of my favorites.
His uniform belt he left in the flat of another prostitute an hour or so later. He picked her up in Regent Street, just around the corner from the unconscious body of Greta Hayward. They took a taxi back to the girl's flat in the Paddington area. It had been snowing, and it was freezing. So she kept her boots on as she undressed in front of a tiny gas fire. It was just as well. A strange expression came over his face, said the streetwise girl, and he grabbed me round the neck and tried to strangle me. So I booted him in the shins and made him shout. He said no more, he put on his coat, gave me 15 quid and he went. But he left his tunic belt behind.
He's dropping shit everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Again. Wait. I
tunic
can't believe
belt?
I left my belt. Oh, my pants will fall down. Isn't that funny? Oh, my pants fall down. And all the Parliament's watching and going like, no, indecent.
And that's where Benny Hill got all of his great comedic ideas.
I'm sorry I cut your pussy.
And then his pants fall down, and everybody laughs, and they love it, and love it, and love it.
Yeah, prostitutes running by with big balloons in front of their chest.
This is just a bad day for this guy, huh? He
Real
loses
bad
his
day.
gas mask, and now really,
Well, he's
I mean,
obviously he's new.
well,
Yeah,
yes,
he's new.
and this is where his inexperience is really shown through here.
You can't just jump into this shit.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. You got to plan. Ted Bundy did dry runs for fucking months.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
this is also how one of the reasons why Ted Bundy. It was the same kind of pattern because if you remember in Florida, he that last woman that he attacked, he didn't kill her, so he didn't get the release that he actually needed. So he went to the next apartment. And he didn't actually kill her either. So this guy has somewhat of the same pattern as that. Tried killing the first one, didn't do it. Tried killing the second one,
Right.
didn't do it. But I thought that was so weird. It's like threw her 15 quid and then left.
I mean,
after-
as far as a day of a prostitute goes during World War II,
How often do you get choked as a prostitute?
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens
Often.
2 times a day. Some dude goes like a funny look across his face, and he goes like, "I hate you, mom. I hate you, mom." And then it's like, "So that'll be $50." Thank you again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just, well, I'll see you.
It's similar to when you go to Feta Sao, which is a great meat store here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
How
you
is
know?
it similar to Fat Sal?
When you go there and then you demand all the food and you curse at the people.
No, I sensibly order because if Fat Sal is one of those barbecue places where you order by the pound, and if you don't watch yourself properly, you'll spend $80 sitting by yourself. And it's not like I've done that,
No, you haven't.
but I've learned since then
Yes.
what a human eats. To me, it's more like you go to the burrito store and it's closed because the fucking health inspector's closed it
Sure.
because it's full of rat meat. And
Yeah.
you're like, but I liked it.
It was
And
good.
then I guess I have to go get a fucking pita across the street. That's what it's like.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with this guy. He had his beautiful rat burrito, then he lost her, then he went for the pita, and he lost her as
Lost
well.
her,
So
so
now
now
he's
he's gonna
extremely
go-
upset.
yeah.
So was he wearing his gas mask to hide his identity?
No, he was just carrying it around.
Maybe he had one of those.
That's just
maybe it was one of those.
dumb.
Maybe it was one of those American fart prostitutes that you referenced earlier, and he just always puts a gas mask
I
in
better
case.
put on my gas mask because here comes Farty Lucy.
She is a special prostitute.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, you ready to get the hot air balloon? That's what I call when I fucking staple a blanket over here and I'll stick my ass in it and I'll fart all up in your goddamn face.
I'm sure there's a man.
I can't wait to pay you money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
anyway,
my pussy's all full of raisins. Sat down on a fucking box of raisins. Now my pussy's all full of them. So can't use it. Closed for fucking business.
Because of raisins. Yeah, that's a strange reason to close your pussy for business.
Well, they picked up Gordon 2 days later on Sunday, February 16th. His fingerprints, of course, matched the bloody can opener that they found. A search of his quarters
Oh,
turned
he
up.
also left the can open.
He left the can
he's
opener
a fucking
too.
goblin
Yeah.
mess.
I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
he
He's
just
Mr. Bean over there.
Yeah.
He really was.
something happened to make this guy snap. There was some trigger.
Or you're saying, yeah, that maybe, he had a bad waitress.
Yeah.
Just something
be.
happened. And maybe that's what it was. He couldn't get his burrito, so he had to have a pita, so he flipped out.
Yeah.
Could be.
Something made him flip out. Who knows? But they found in his quarters, they also found several items that belonged to his victims. He took trophies as well. He took a cigarette case belonging to one woman, took a fountain pen belonging to another. On June 25th, just a few months later,
I mean,
the
why did she
blackout.
have a fountain pen? Was she writing receipts?
I mean, this is back in the day. Everyone had fountain pens.
Yeah, this is back
Even
in the
a
day when
prostitute?
people were literate.
I felt like a fountain pen was more like an iPhone 5 back in the day. If you had a
No,
fountain pen, it was
now
it was
it's
the
like an
peak of
iPhone 5.
technology.
Now it's expensive. Then it was just pens. It was just pens.
But prostitutes don't have iPhone 5s now.
Well, actually, I can
I
answer
bet
that
they
question.
do. Yes, they do. They do have prostitutes. Do have iPhones. Yes.
Yeah, I can answer that question for you. The fountain pen was taken from Doris Jeanette. Remember, Doris's husband lived with her. He was a hotel manager. So
Yeah,
he
he
was,
was fountain pens all over the place.
yeah, he was
Full
a
of
man of
fountain
business.
pens.
So he
Okay.
needed, there were plenty of fountain
Sure,
pens around.
okay.
On 25th of June, the Blackout Ripper was executed at London's Wandsworth Prison, and poetically, an air raid was in progress over the city as he was led to the gallows.
At Wandsworth Prison.
Poor Gordon Cummins.
Poor Gordon Cummins. And he was executed by the famous London executioner, the longest serving executioner that served up until, I think, like 1990. He was the hangman. He's a very interesting guy.
His name, Albert Pierpoint?
Albert Pierpoint.
Ooh, that's awesome.
yeah.
We should do a show on that.
We're definitely like
We should.
there's an executions episode that I've got bubbling in my brain right now. We should
bubbling
definitely,
out?
It's bubbling right now. It's bubbling right now. We could do a whole episode
I'm
of
getting
just
all Gordon Cummins about that.
just
Getting
on
giddy, huh?
Yeah, we could do it just on executioners. They're fascinating people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Now
all right,
we've-
stick a pervert's head on a block. Yeah, all right, let's hang him up. Yeah, you like it when you're really socked, Mr. Cummins? Oh, yes, I do, Mr. Executioner. Will you suck it for me?
That's very,
No, I'm
very
sending
nice.
you straight to hell. That's British hell.
Yeah, that's British hell. And now that we're done with Britain, let's move on over to France for Marcel
C'est
Péchois,
la vie.
This guy is amazing.
a.k.a. the Butcher of Paris, the Scalper of Étoile, the Monster of Rue Les Sceaux, the Demonic Ogre, the Underground Assassin, the Werewolf of Paris, and of course, Dr. Satan.
This guy has had, he's done every crime.
Everything.
This guy's
He's amazing.
amazing.
Mark is just-
there needs to be I cannot believe that there's not a movie about this guy.
I think there's a
There's
couple of
one.
movies
There's,
about
yeah,
him.
I think there was 2 movies about
Yeah,
him.
there's
but they
movies,
didn't
there's
reference
3
House of a
books.
Thousand Corpses. It had to be a nod to this guy when
It reminds me-
when
this
the
guy
bunnies go down to Dr. Satan.
He reminds me of like an H.H. Holmes, where it's like the same thing where people were like, oh, he's charming and cosmopolitan, but you ask him, he's going like, hey, you come here, little girl, God, like crying. And it's like, we
Yeah.
love his energy. He's got the effervescent life force.
Yeah. And he reminds you of Ted Bundy in that he was into politics. He reminds you.
He was elected.
He reminds you
He's an
of John
elected
Wayne
mayor.
Gacy in that he was a well-loved, well-respected member of the
I mean,
community.
I don't know. It seems like he wasn't. He was just more like they were like, well, there's a guy you can go get free drugs from, and he's over there, and it's just him hanging out, going,
Well,
no,
he was elected. I mean-
I suck your feet.
No. During the investigation into the murders that he committed, they interviewed 2,000 former patients, and not a single one had a bad word to say about
He's
him.
got the look. He's got the touch.
And
He's got the touch.
So this guy, Albert,
X Factor.
this
So
guy,
let's go through-
Marcel Pierrepont, he was convicted of killing 23 people in his home in Paris during World War II. He is suspected of killing around 60. That's what they can link him to. Some estimates put it as high as 160.
Well, yeah, because he had a death factory in his
He
house.
had a death factory in his house. This guy, he was taking people during the collaboration government in World War II in France.
That's a fun revisionist way to put it. The collaboration government.
Yeah, the Vichy government. They were a collaboration government that was installed after the Nazis marched into Paris, and he was
Yeah,
trying
beat them with a bunch of their own bread. Took bread out of their fucking stalls and just hit them in the head. And they were like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." And they're just like, "Oh, ha, ha.
Yeah, a lot of Japanese over there, huh?
Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
And this guy had one hell of a scheme going. There were
Yes,
a
he
lot of
did.
people in this time that were trying to get out of Nazi-occupied Paris. There were resistance people. There were criminals that were trying to get out, trying to escape the Gestapo. There were, of course, plenty of Jews trying to get out of there. And what this guy would do is that he would take them into his apartment. He would tell them, all right, we're going to send you to Argentina. It's going to be safe. We're
Yeah,
gonna
sit
send you-
down, have a slice of bread, have some wine, huh? You sit there, you like?
You sort of sound like the guy from the new Star Wars movie there.
Yeah,
The guy
you
where
sound more like
Anakin,
Bazulba or
is it
Babolza.
Babolba?
Babolza. Yeah,
Do
that
I?
one.
Is
yeah.
he French?
It's no.
Oh.
No.
That's a major problem.
No, he's Middle Eastern without a doubt.
Interesting.
Yeah, he sounds like Israeli Jewish. But
Or French, whatever. I mean, we're all one people.
So this guy, he would tell people he's sending them to Argentina through Portugal, but he told them, like, listen, Argentina has very strict rules about immigrants. You have to have Thai food and not typhoid. Thai food.
And not
Thai.
Thai.
Yeah, you have to
gotta have their Thai food.
You
It's
gotta have
delish.
Thai food. You gotta bring pad Thai with you if you want to get in Argentina.
Hey, you got to have the new dish, my friend.
All right.
I don't know if we're going to let that one happen anymore.
I think you need to retool.
Yeah, welcome
Okay, let's
to
go back to the
Gamboree,
kid.
my friend.
I've had enough.
Marcus is getting very upset, Henry. I like it. I love what you're doing, but it's just Marcus. You know, he's got all the dials. So if we want to keep on doing the show, we got to make him happy.
So he told them that he would have to give them typhoid inoculations, but really these shots were only filled with cyanide.
Just cyanide. But can we go back real quick?
We're gonna go back. We're
Yeah.
gonna start with this guy's early life. Well, let's start when he was a child. This guy had he had 2 out of the 3 on the serial killer triad. He tortured small animals to death constantly. He wet his bed. He wet his trousers without, at the drop of a hat.
I just how like every single person who'd ever met him in his whole life described him as a person with mental illness. They're all like, "Well, he's got a problem. Well, he's definitely got a problem. He definitely has a problem."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they just bounced
Killing
him from
rats.
place to place to place.
Yeah,
Right.
he propositioned a male classmate for sex. He was caught passing obscene photos to other students. This one I love. At age 11, he stole his father's revolver and fired it off in history class.
That's great.
Another time, he
kid.
staged a circus act at school, standing a friend against a door and throwing knives at him.
I mean,
But the thing is, that kid didn't die. He was good at
again,
throwing knives.
They just had an old idea of. I refuse to believe that he was charming and sophisticated. I refuse to believe it.
No,
He
what do
was
you mean?
He was a drooling maniac. He was a maniac.
He had
It was
some
just-
pee-pee in his pants, but
No.
he could throw a hell of a knife.
He just was saying funny things because he was just like, like, I'm not going to do the accent again.
No. Well, you have to figure out how to do it first.
I'm going to
I'm gonna get you some cheese. You'll be
Put
able
some
to do
softness in it. You don't speak French.
No, I don't speak the Romance languages. No, but he basically, he was just kind of funny
Yeah.
because he was so off balance. He must have just been because he was a
it.
blithering
I mean, you can
maniac.
imagine
Yeah.
how dark and twisted French comedy would be during this time.
He
I
had
mean,
the
their
same-
entire country is on the verge of war throughout
He
his
just
entire life.
looked like a normal person. It's like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was saying ludicrous things to people over and over the place, but it's like he's got a trustworthy face and he's got a charming way of saying it. So it's like you kind of go along with it, but he obviously was covered in dirt everywhere he was going, just like touching himself, grabbing at people.
He was also like many serial killers. He was a thief, and when he would go to visit his brother insisted on searching his pockets every time. Like before he left, he said, "All right, Marcel, you know what time it is. Take them out."
Take them out.
Take them out. Just give me the clock.
I did not steal anything, brother. I would never do such a thing.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah,
Just
right?
a bunch
Yeah.
Not quite so grating.
Yeah. See, that's how I imagine.
A little
he
more
talked.
sensitive to the human ear.
Just
Yeah.
like checks his pockets all full of doorknobs from the house.
Yeah,
And that was
exactly.
the other thing. It's like when he became a doctor, they put him in a hospital for kleptomania for like
Yes.
2 weeks, and then he was fine.
Oh, and he was in psychiatric hospitals all throughout his life.
He's a real Winona Ryder when
A
it comes to that.
psychiatrist pronounced him an abnormal youth suffering from personal and hereditary problems, which limit to a large degree his responsibility for his acts. He was in and out of psychiatric hospitals,
Right.
in and out of prisons.
remember-
Sometimes he was able to convince the judge that he was insane, that he needed to go to prison, that he was criminally insane.
I've got to go.
Sometimes
I am just loosey goosey up there. If there were actual nuts and bolts in my brain, they'd be falling out of my ears.
I'm sorry, Marcel. Did you steal the hinges off the door?
Sorry, buddy. They're just
Okay.
so gold and pretty.
Just give them back. We're just gonna let you go.
One time when he was arrested for theft, he told the judge that he was mentally ill, but once he got to the hospital, he said that it was a momentary aberration caused by his preoccupation with a new invention, a suction machine designed to relieve constipation.
A suction machine.
Which is just a tube that goes up your fucking ass. He just loved that machine.
Oh, God, just completely obsessed
this
with it.
guy's fucking
Can you just
amazing.
imagine what that machine looks like? A suction machine
It's just
designed.
It's just a tube to a vacuum machine connected to an old-timey bike, which
Yeah.
a guy just running the bike as hard as
But
possible.
then he forgot to put the bag on the back of it, and he just gets covered in shit while he bikes.
I'm sorry, I've always used this machine for an hour today. I must be on empty.
I guess he is. That's sad.
So, of course, 1915, World War I breaks out. He volunteers for service in 1916 during the Second Battle of Aisne, I think. He was wounded and gassed, which can only further fuck up his brain.
Absolutely.
Like,
Sure.
Can only further fuck him up. Of course, he
Well,
was...
maybe it's like when you
But
get
his-
hit by a donkey and you go cross-eyed, like get hit by a donkey again, your eyes go back to straight. I mean, maybe this worked out for him.
Well, of course, he was sent to a hospital where he was arrested for theft, for stealing army blankets, morphine, wallets, photographs, letters.
This is what I'm saying. He's not even, because it's obvious. He's obviously got armloads full of
Yes.
shit, just like looking around,
Yeah.
running out of the fucking
And
hospital.
what is the point of stealing letters? It's not your mother or
it's something to
father
steal.
writing
Something
you.
to steal. He's a kleptomaniac.
It's just something to steal.
Yeah, and so he convinced that judge that he was criminally insane. So they sent
fuck
him
that movie, The Bling Ring.
the bling ring.
The Bling Ring. About
What's
those
that?
fucking chicks who stole all the things from Paris Hilton and whatnot. Everyone thinks they're some of the greatest kleptomaniacs of all time. They got nothing on Marcel.
No, they
No,
got
absolutely. And I'm surprised you'd even bring up the bling
The
ring.
Bling
Yeah.
Ring. Oh, you got to see it. It's a great movie.
No, I will not see it.
Oh, I'm going to make you fucking
I
see
will
it.
never see it.
When I fucking treat you like that one dude in Clockwork Orange, make your eyes stay open and duct tape your hands
Is
behind
this
your
a
head.
plan of yours?
No, I haven't thought about this for a while.
So of course he gets after he gets out of the mental hospital, they send him right back to the front lines.
Because he volunteered again. He just like volunteered. It's like I've got to go. It's the romance of war. Huh?
I mean, if you're a notorious peer, if you constantly piss your trousers, what better place to be in than the front lines of World War I?
To you, Marcel, my friend, you pee your pants, huh? Enemy no find you.
It's good. It's still a little bit more like
I don't know.
Babalba.
Yeah, it's
or Babalba.
definitely it's a lot more like episode 1. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's fine.
the Jewish stereotype.
Interesting. Are we being? Was that anti-Semitic? On
I think
Absolutely
George
not.
Lucas is anti-Semitic.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, also racist against Asians.
Well, I've heard that
Why
the
is
new
that?
Star Wars was written by a Jew chained up in his shed in the back of his mansion.
Isn't that
which
something?
is why it
That's a
isn't very
theory, I
good because people can't work under those conditions.
No, they invent characters like Jar Jar Binks. That's not good.
So he
Anyway.
goes back to the front lines, decides he doesn't like it, shoots himself in the foot. Some people say he shot himself. I saw another account in which it said that he injured his foot with a grenade.
Grenade?
Yeah.
He
so-
grenaded himself in the foot.
yeah.
He's
I mean,
nuts.
He's nuts. He's fucking crazy.
Step on a nail, dude.
He volunteered to go to war twice. Both
Right.
times got himself kicked out of the war, then went back.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm just gonna grenade myself in the foot.
However, in 1920, he decides, you know what I need to do? I should become a doctor.
I agree.
Yeah,
'Cause it was easy back then.
It was easy. He went into an accelerated education program for war veterans. He completed medical school in 8 months.
8 months.
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, and then he.
This was back in the day when being a doctor was more like being a mechanic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
And despite 2 criminal insanity rulings for past crimes, he received his medical degree in December of 1921.
Absolutely.
And
mean,
began
you know.
his practice at Villeneuve-sur-Yonne. I apologize in advance to all of our French speakers for my pronunciation of the town names that are coming up.
I will not respond. I will not apologize for my accent because
good.
that's how it sounds to me.
well, let me just apologize for Henry Zabrowski's accent on behalf of the last podcast on the left.
He gained a reputation for dubious medical practices such as supplying narcotics, performing illegal abortions, and, of course, theft. He stole
course.
money from the town's treasury. He stole the bass drum from a local band.
He stole a bass
Yeah,
drum.
the bass drum thing was insane.
Well, just like it just again, how do you obviously not steal? How do you not be obvious when you're stealing a bass drum? And then also, how bad was the band?
Yeah, how bad?
I mean, I get not that bad
'Cause
because
I think
they
he's-
needed the bass drum.
I think he stole things that he didn't like because he also stole a stone cross that he had deemed an eyesore.
But I also feel like there
Yeah.
are times where he like looks at stuff and he's just like, I think he's just the kind of guy who like walks around and he's just like, I could play the bass drum. I just need to get a bass drum. And he sees the bass drum in the street. He's just like, take the bass drum. And he just like takes it. He plays with it for 2 seconds. It's just like, bass drums suck.
This is hard. I mean, I would say, I guess it makes sense that he performed a lot of illegal abortions. He's certainly good at making things disappear, and he's
But
just
technically, it's a needed service again.
yeah.
Well, I mean, hell, what woman would want to be pregnant during a war?
Nazi-run France. That
It's a
sounds
difficult-
fucking horrible.
Yeah,
So, and
not
of
the
course-
worst thing he did. I would say that the illegal abortion, not the worst.
No,
Of
no,
all
no,
the things.
I'd say
I mean, stealing the bass
at this
drum.
point, stealing the bass
Yeah.
drum from that poor fucking band nerd.
Yeah.
Because that's all he had in this life.
just my
that was
bass
his
drum.
fucking. That was his fucking equalizer in life. Is that he's
Yeah.
like, well, I could definitely play the bass drum for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody took it. Oh, well, I guess I'll go back to being secretary of the chess club.
Oh, that's so sad.
I played bass drum in marching band.
This is what I'm saying. Look what it did for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine if
Yeah.
someone stole your bass drum with the height of your learning how to play the bass
That would have
drum.
made you sad, right,
It made me
Marcus?
extremely sad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, how am I supposed to be a dork and not get laid without my bass drum?
well, I
band-
moved to
band
the
kids-
Tritoms later on.
Oh, okay.
But band kids get laid all the time. They fuck each other. That's the whole
yeah.
point.
No, it's great. My
That's why you get into that.
First time I fingered a girl was on a band trip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
You got
band
them
kids are
drummer.
sexual maniacs.
They have to be.
Yeah, it's
Band
great.
kids?
Yeah, band
Isn't that
kids. My
something?
God, just a whole bunch of fucking mildly attractive teenagers
Everybody's
hanging out
just
with each
rubbing
other.
on each other.
Yeah. What instrument did the girl play that you fingered?
Clarinet.
Ah.
Should have gotten a blowjob.
All right,
Let's move on.
Of course,
I mean, that seems out of all the instruments, like clarinet. I mean, well, yeah, I would like to
it's
get
a
a blowjob.
woodwind.
Yeah.
It's a woodwind.
If anything, you want to go for the trombone players.
Yeah, you want to say, get
The
somebody.
girls
want
who
someone-
really
you don't
know
want
how to
someone-
work their lips.
Yeah, the one who's playing it wrong by sucking on it.
All right. Well,
Yeah, the
listeners
woodwinds
who
are more
play
about woodwinds are more about breathing control.
Just let me know.
She sucks so
listeners-
hard she could make that trombone play backwards.
Holy Lord. No, Marcus, you're just farting a whole bunch. Kind of fun. The human
Pussy
trombone.
comes-
Anyway,
comes over.
back to murder.
Back to murder.
death.
This guy, he also he spread bogus credentials all around town. He started printing slur campaigns against the other doctors in town
For no reason.
comparing himself to
They
the two,
won't give you free drugs, so they won't smell like piss.
comparing himself to the two elderly doctors. The flyers read, "Dr. Patois is young, and only a young doctor can keep up to date on the latest methods born of a progress which marches with giant strides. This is why intelligent patients have confidence in him."
This
Very
guy's
intriguing.
amazing.
Yep.
He's a brilliant man.
He began running advertisements that described him as an interne at one mental hospital where he had actually been an interne, which means a patient. So that little accent mark on the E really made all the difference in the world.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that was a nice little
What does the first
switcheroo
one
on
mean?
him. Intern.
Oh.
Yeah, it means an actual. The first one means he
so
worked
you mean
there.
to tell me he just erases a fucking an accent mark and
Yeah.
now he's working for the hospital?
That's what he did?
Yeah.
This is the problem with French. This is
Yeah.
why English is so complicated, so stuff like this can't happen.
Yeah, it was just a little dot that was the difference between him running the goddamn place or being locked up in the basement.
Yeah.
Wow. And people say words don't matter. That's amazing.
When one pharmacist complained of the near-fatal dose Patois described for a child, Patois replied, "What difference does it make to you anyway? Isn't it better to do away with this kid who's not doing anything in the world but pestering its mother?"
I mean, his mother was
Dad?
probably like, well, yeah.
Yeah, but
guy.
this is also when people say he killed his first victim. Her name was Louise Delavaux, the daughter of an elderly patient. He had an affair with her in 1926. She disappeared, and neighbors later said they had seen Patois load a trunk into his car, closely resembling another trunk fished out of the river weeks later, filled with the dismembered, decomposed remains of a young woman who was never identified. Police investigated, but ruled that Louise was just a runaway.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Well, they
That
can't
happens all
prove it.
the
It's
time.
just a dismembered corpse. They can't identify.
found in a
It's not like
trunk.
they had dental records back then in 1926.
Right, well,
I
no one
guess
had
that's
teeth.
true.
Yeah.
Maybe a little gum record, something like that.
Yeah, all the teeth are made out of wood.
Why don't you bite into this mud for a second? We're going to figure out how your gums are.
And so it's that same year that he decides he's going into politics.
Yeah!
This man is just a fucking. He is
I
the
love him.
Bo Jackson
He
of
is.
serial killers. He did it all.
It's everything. When he was
I mean,
running,
his political resume on paper is outstanding.
It's great.
3 times going back to the war. He doesn't mention grenading his foot off.
To get out
You
of
know,
it.
No.
None of
former
the time
doctor.
former doctor, former runner of a mental institution.
Yes, I mean, this
well, an
man,
intern. You didn't run the
you didn't
place,
run-
but yeah.
I mean, this political resume is through the roof.
Yep. When he ran for mayor, he hired an accomplice to disrupt a political debate with his opponent. When Patois finished speaking, his crony cut the power to the auditorium, blacked out the entire village, and started several fires.
I love it.
Damn.
It's sort of like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I heard that's how
The
Barack
show.
Obama became senator in Chicago.
Isn't that
Yeah.
something that is that's a goddamn fact.
Chicago politics.
Chicago politics,
Yeah.
as it used to be, and as it still was.
This guy also sort of has an Andy Kaufman type thing going on.
Yeah,
You know,
kinda.
it's really jokes on us.
And
you know?
he won by a landslide.
Oh, he crushed him.
Oh, yeah.
I could make some comparisons to a recent election we had here in New York City, but I am not doing it because I have lost another woman.
Bill de Blasio is not like this man.
No.
Yeah, Bill de Blasio was never a fucking doctor. Never went to goddamn war.
Well,
Probably
why-
stole a bass drum. though.
All right.
Well, while
I mean,
some
who hasn't been tested to at least steal a glockenspiel?
A
'Cause I would steal.
glockenspiel?
Yeah, I'd love to steal one of those just from him, though. I would just take it from his hands.
What's a glockenspiel?
The bing, bada, ding, dong, gong, 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 bong, 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 bong.
I love that.
That
I totally
instrument-
know I know what you're talking about entirely. I really do.
Well, while some despised Patois as mayor, some called him the best mayor ever. He's
amazing.
And just loved him. After he went to jail numerous times for various frauds while he was mayor, including embezzling town funds, and after
He
being
just committed every crime. also
every
as mayor.
crime, and he
again,
was suspended
this is
from
perfect.
mayor twice After the second time, he decides, all right, I'm done being mayor. I'm going to run for the general counselor's office. He wins that. Then he's accused of stealing electricity from the village. He stole electricity.
He just stole the power. I mean, that's a great thing to steal. Again, Rob Ford. He reminds me of Toronto's current mayor, Rob Ford.
God,
It reminds me of like Mr. Burns putting up like the blocking the sun thing.
Yeah,
You know, like,
exactly.
These guys nuts. He's
I
fucking
love
crazy.
the idea. I don't even know what that looks like to steal power. I just imagine he's in the living room, like fighting
just, like,
lightning off his
You've
fingers.
never done that? No,
how
I've
do you-
definitely done that where it's just like we did it once with an abandoned house in Tallahassee. They left the power still going. You literally just plug shit into the outlets that are still going on. And you have it. He's probably standing out in his front lawn. He's got
Like
extension cords just like running from the other.
It's like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when Clark Griswold lights up his house. And they're like,
He's
nah,
like,
it is not
"Look
Christmas.
what I have made, and he's got all these like lit up reindeer in his front lawn. You
Beautiful.
just see the electricity meters just spinning.
Yeah, the town goes dark.
Of course, after he lost his seat, he decides, fuck it, I'm going to Paris and I'm going back to my old career as a doctor.
Gotta
There
do
we
that.
go. Sometimes you got to go back to where you started.
And despite, and of course, he had all these untrue credentials. He had posted so many credentials on his front door. The other physicians in town actually checked up on him and they said, listen, you got to take that down. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
true.
all fake.
And
You're obviously lying. He must have been hilarious.
And
the
yeah,
only way
that's the
for
thing.
him to have made it this far is that he must have been the funniest dude on the face of the planet.
And he was a good-looking gentleman to boot. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was he was a rough man. He had definitely a rough, like rugged look about him. Bald, but still a charmer.
Well, you can imagine how hideous all the other monsters were in Paris and
Had
at that
to.
time.
And that's the thing, is that despite all of this, he had a huge clientele. He built a great reputation for himself. Like I said earlier,
Because he's just giving people free drugs. That
Yeah.
was the whole thing. Is that he's funneling drugs. He's doing abortions. He's doing all this horrible.
Well, he was known as a guy who treated poor families for free. He was just known as an all-around great guy. But then, in 1940, the Nazis arrived.
Oh man! At the same time, he's like, "Finally, people I can understand."
Yeah.
And so the Nazis arrived, and this is when the real killing begins.
Okay.
Because
now he's got the
throughout the years, he had been linked to many murders.
How
of
many
people.
murders do we suspect him of having committed at this point?
At this point, we don't know. I don't know the exact number, how many murders he was convicted or that he was suspected of.
I suppose
up
if
to
you're
this
like a
point.
big pro-lifer,
I mean,
you would argue
I'm gonna
like
say,
probably 150.
I just looked up Marcel Patois. He is not a good-looking man.
Let me see.
He is a nuts-looking man. He's got.
No, he's a good-looking Frenchman.
No, he's
this
not.
is the 1930s.
We'll do this. We'll look it up later. We'll put it on the Facebook page.
Of course,
Let us
in
know what you think.
In 1940s France, and especially in Paris, when the Nazis moved in, there was a sizable resistance movement within France.
But
to
as my
fight
Opa
against the
often
Nazis.
told me, he often reminded me, when a lot of Germans invaded France, they were greeted as liberators as well. Many people.
There was
That is a very interesting point of view. It sounds like it's a point of view from somebody that was on the other side of the argument.
Yeah, that's not extremely true. There was some
not
people.
true.
It was all fascist. The people who welcomed them as liberators were fascists and Jew haters. People who thought, of course, were Nazi sympathizers.
And there was a lot of Jew hate in France at the time, as we also then see when we did the Holocaust revisionism stuff. A lot of that Holocaust revisionist writing came out of France.
Yeah. And a lot of, I think there were somewhere around 13,000 Jews in Paris alone that were shipped off to Auschwitz. But some of the people who were able to be like kind of Jewy, but were able to pass for the time,
What
of
do
course,
you mean kind of Jewy? Explain kind of Jewy.
guys who didn't immediately look Jewish.
Okay, yes.
People who didn't have the name like Bazagowitz.
Yeah.
Bazagowitz, the biggest titted Jew of all time. Trina Bazagowitz.
Where the term bazongas came from.
Isn't that something? Now, I had no idea. They would say she had to staple two sheets together for a bra.
In other words, guys who could pass, but the walls were closing in on them.
The myth
Of Sadie Bazunga.
Sadie Bazungowitz, later known as Sadie Bazunga.
The biggest titted
man.
woman on
The only Jew the Germans loved. I believe Andrea Merkel
You
is her
could play
descendant.
with her tits for a week and not have seen the nipples.
So, of course, this is when his real scheme begins. He starts charging people 25,000 francs per person.
That's a bunch of money.
Yep. He had 3 accomplices that helped bring victims in, and these 3 accomplices didn't know that he was killing these people.
No.
Well, they said they didn't know that.
Yeah, they
that
said
he
they
was
said
killing
they
those
didn't
people.
know.
They were getting paid, so they were
yeah.
doing whatever.
Yeah, they were getting paid, and as far as they knew, these people were being shipped off to Argentina. His code name was Dr. Eugene, and the people that they were getting out were Jews, resistance fighters, and ordinary criminals. It said that because he would also get their possessions that they were bringing with them, jewelry, bonds, things like that, and of course the 25,000 francs.
Right.
It was said that, or they estimated that he made 200 million francs off of this operation.
I mean, he's a real Bernie Madoff,
Yeah.
This
And-
guy is
yeah.
actually, you can compare this guy to modern day people that we know that have actually had power in our own society.
Oh, very
You
much
know,
so. He's like a Bernie Madoff. He
A
was,
Rob Ford, Bernie Madoff. Fucking,
yeah, career criminal
Yeah.
with just enough fucking charisma to keep getting pushed to the next level, keep getting pushed from like place to place. Nobody wants to deal with him because he's still kind of funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, among his early customers were his criminals were a big part of his clientele because these people were being chased by the Gestapo.
When that
the
was a part
Nazi
of his
secret
explanation
police.
after the fact when he finally got caught and he was just like, I killed criminals. I killed Nazi sympathizers. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, you killed whoever had 25,000 francs.
His early customers were 3 Parisian pimps and 3 prostitutes. Patois later branded all of them as Nazi collaborators. He said that these people needed to die. Another pimp, Joseph Peresci, he made his dead-end journey with his mistress. At first, before he said he just dumped the bodies in the river.
Yeah.
Like that's what he started off with. And numerous dismembered victims were dragged from the river in all of those years. The remains included 9 heads, 4 thighs, and many other mutilated
At
pieces.
no point, though, right? At no point there's sexual satisfaction here, right? His motivation is all greed.
It's all money.
It's all money,
Yeah,
right?
this is well. I mean, we're going to get into that a little bit because they say that it's all money, but some evidence points that there may be some sadism involved.
He's
Well,
done
definitely
some
some
shit.
sadism.
These are just the surface level crimes. He's done so much shit
Right.
that you cannot even imagine what the motives are.
Yeah.
Like this has been forever. It just seems like his
Right.
brain's like a tinker toy. It's just going back and forth, just going like, it's like steal, rape, kill, murder, get money, steal. It's just like that's
Yeah.
all he did.
Yeah, I'm sure he's extremely impulsive
Yeah.
as well.
And
Which
it
helps
was-
you win a fucking debate in a political setting. It also helps when your buddy cuts the lights out.
Yeah.
Yep. In 1941, he bought a house, and that is where he began incinerating the bodies or dissolving them in quicklime.
I want to see, by the way, I'm sorry, I just want to see the him just demanding to go first at the
Yeah.
debate.
I will
go first.
I must go first. Why are you so serious about going first? Nothing, no reason.
No reason at all.
And so on March 11th, 1944, that's when the stench became too much for the neighbors to bear, and there was extreme amounts of. I mean, this is
Again,
France
this
is
is
smelly.
Francis Smelly, this is also during a wartime. I mean, you can imagine the stench of the area. Death is all around.
Well, this
to
was-
outstink that stink, it had to be pretty smelly.
There was complete peace in France at this time. The French had surrendered to the Nazis 4 years earlier.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
this
so they're
there's
just hanging.
Yeah, they're just hanging out at this time. And of course there was smoke billowing from the house. They sent firefighters in to figure out what was going on. They soon came back out. The chief told the cops, "You got some work ahead of you."
Yeah.
The officers
Yikes.
went downstairs where a coal-fed stove was found burning full blast, a human arm dangling from its open door.
Not even carefully put in there.
Yeah, you got to get that arm in there.
Nearby, a heap of coal was mixed with human bodies and fragments of several dismembered bodies. In Patois' garage, people found a large heap of quicklime mixed with human remains, including a recognizable scalp and jawbone. A pit had been dug in the stable, filled with more quicklime and corpses in various stages of decomposition. On the staircase leading from the courtyard to the basement, police found a canvas sack containing the headless left half of a corpse, complete but for its foot and vital organs. Police cataloged 33 pounds of charred bones, 24 pounds of unburned fragments, 11 pounds of human hair, including more than 10
pounds.
whole scalps, 3 garbage cans full of pieces too small to identify. Based on the substantial pieces, Paul said the oldest victim was a 50-year-old man, the youngest a 25-year-old woman. Examining the death
did a lot
house,
of work.
He did. Does anyone else get the feeling that this is what the movie The Burbs is based
yeah,
on?
based on, yeah.
With
Yeah.
Tom Hanks. I mean, I want to see I think The Burbs probably represents the neighbor's perspective
Yeah.
of Mr. Marcel fairly perfectly. Honey, I think he's burning bodies.
No, in his perspective, it's like he's the aviator. You know, like he's running around. He's a genius.
Police noted basement sinks large enough for draining corpses of blood, and this last detail is why I think that there's some form of extreme sadism involved in this, at least with some of his victims. They found a soundproof octagonal chamber with wall-mounted shackles and a peephole centered in its door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that would be it.
That is that right there. When you have a whole room developed to it, you know, it's like having, you know, like, this is my comic book room. It's like,
Right.
oh, you must like comic books. You
Wine
know?
cellars. That's something that often people have in the basement
When you're
of
an
a house.
enthusiast of something.
Right. Cigars, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or just shackles on the wall.
So at 1:30 a.m., a telegram finally arrived from Paris police headquarters. It read, "Order from German authorities, arrest Petois, dangerous lunatic."
From the Germans.
From the Germans.
4 years
finally,
previous,
I get the
they
title I
were
wanted.
worshiping Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mayor,
here's-
doctor, dangerous lunatic.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Nah, I've done it all.
Don't laugh at him. And he's hilarious. I mean, when you're going to talk to him, he's going to say some jokes. He's going to be very charming, but just get him.
And he just steals the detective's badge. He's like, now I am the detective. Isn't that how this works?
Here's the interesting thing about it, and I think the very ironic thing about it is that this guy was killing Frenchmen wholesale. He was not killing German collaborators. He was not killing any sort of Nazis, but because the German Gestapo was searching for this guy,
he became a hero immediately.
yeah, French patriots said, like, all right, then this guy must be killing Jews, especially when they found out that the Gestapo had tortured and imprisoned this guy from May 1943 to January 1944. So these people thought automatically, all right, this guy is a hero. He is killing collaborators. He is killing Nazis. We're not going to put a whole lot of effort into searching for this guy.
Yeah,
So the
and so
French
he
thought
went,
he was killing Nazis.
But then he joined up with them.
Yeah, he joined up
escape,
with him.
yeah.
Yeah. He hid with some friends. He grew his beard out, and he joined one of the resistance groups.
Isn't that something? Very similar career arc to Cat Stevens.
But also,
said
honest,
Islam.
no, it's to be honest, it is exactly the career thing as Ted Bundy. This guy is fucking Ted. This is very
it's
close to
he's
Ted
the French Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Except a
He's
lot
similar.
better.
He is much, much better. Ted Bundy never actually succeeded at anything.
No.
No. And like, I mean, you know,
What was the name? This guy changed his name multiple times as well. What was it?
Yeah, the
Henrik
last one was
something?
Henry
Henry Lettier.
like Lettier.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's no
and
proof of this name change. You could just back in the day, you could just say
You
that
could say
this is
whatever you
my
want.
name,
Yeah.
and people would just
Yeah, the
believe
burden
you.
of the truth was on you.
Yeah.
Was you just be in the room saying your name?
and finally, after some of the resistance fighters they started to catch what was going on with Petois. Because
Well, yeah,
as
because
far
he's
as
probably being freaky, hanging out with the friends of occupation movie. He's just like, let me check your teeth. I'm a dentist. He's like, I don't think he's a dentist because half his teeth are gone.
So after this is after, like, it kind of goes through two eras, because after he joins the resistance fighters, that's when the resistance starts winning against the Nazis, and the collaboration as the Vichy government starts to collapse. So after that, the newspaper Resistance, they publish an article about Petois saying, like, listen, this guy is not who he says he is.
That's right, yeah, they
He
uncover it, yeah.
They uncover it. They say he's not who he says he is. He's actually a murderer. We need to find this guy. And Petois sends a letter to his lawyer who represented him in one of the narcotics cases, and he said, this is he called them, quote, filthy kraut lies. And since the police were in contact with the lawyer, they're like, all right, this guy's still in Paris. We've got to find him. And October 31st, on Halloween, he was recognized at a Paris metro station and arrested.
Even though he was dressed as a hot dog.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad? Just trying to get a nice job.
Among his possessions were a pistol, 31,000 francs, and 50 sets of identity documents.
He was
that's
so
the
rich.
problem.
Oh,
You
the
know?
identification.
It's having
Yeah.
all the different IDs is always a problem.
Yeah. And so at the trial begins, and he tells his defense is that, of course, he's completely innocent. All of these people are collaborators, but he said that he first became aware of the corpses in February 1944 after he was released from Nazi custody. He said that he just assumed that the dead people were all collaborators that were killed and dumped by members of his network.
Yeah, it's like
the
now
Resistance Network.
Yeah, sure thing, Marcel. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say, your cum's all over everything, but we're all going to say that you're a liar.
Yes.
And there was some truth to his claims that he was part of the resistance. He provided false medical certificates to Frenchmen who were drafted into slave labor.
No, that's how you mix it all up.
Yeah.
You mix it. You
But-
do some legit stuff and some bad stuff.
Yeah, but he also claimed that he developed secret weapons that killed Germans without leaving forensic evidence.
Ooh, that's kinda cool.
That he planted booby traps all over Paris, had high-level meetings
Which
with
are really
Allied
just
commanders.
boobies, severed
Yeah.
boobies attached to strings. And when you'd open door, the boobies would just swing and hit you in the face.
And everyone would laugh and laugh. The original booby trap.
Is this the first time that the boobies motorboat you?
Yes.
He, of course, taunted the prosecuting lawyers. He claimed that many of the victims had been collaborators or double agents. He noted that one victim, quote, was easy to spot as a collaborator. He had a head like a pimp. Like a police inspector. What's a pimp head look
What
like?
does a pimp head look
is a
like?
pimp head?
It's got a big furry hat on it.
I guess so.
Ba-da-da-ba-da-da-da-da.
Ooh, we have to go to one of those pimp awards at some point in our lives.
Oh yeah, that would be.
That would be great.
Yeah,
That we
anyway.
would fit in there.
Oh, they're gonna love us.
They love
We'll
us.
host it.
They'll love us.
Love us. Anyway.
He claimed that a lot of the people who were vanished were alive and well in South America, but because they said, well, can't you get a hold of these people? He said, South America's a big place.
It is a big place, though. It is.
And he admitted to killing 19 of the 27 victims found in his house. He claimed, of course, that they were Germans and collaborators, part of the total of 63 enemies killed.
Another comparison to fucking Bundy.
Yeah.
Just doing everything, laying all in line in the courtroom. Like, he's just doing it all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Was he
said
his
that
own lawyer, or he had a lawyer?
He had a lawyer,
but he seemed to be talking quite a bit in
He
court.
talked a lot. Yeah. He said that there were 63 enemies that were killed. The other 44 that he killed were not identified. He told the court, I don't have to justify myself for murders I'm not accused of committing.
Well, it is interesting, though, because, obviously it was like, World War I, World War II, there was nothing but death all around. I can see how this could sort of take a toll on the human psyche, and he probably sort of normalizes it in a way,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
He
Used to
definitely did
rampant
not
death.
kill the most amount of people in this, 12, 14, 13-year span.
Yeah.
Like, there's a German soldier getting, or a U.S. soldier getting, honored at some ceremony for killing 150.
Absolutely.
There was a Finnish guy that I think killed somewhere around 600 or 700.
Yeah, absolutely.
By himself.
Yeah, and
you
how
can
many
see
fucking Nazis got awards just for pulling the fucking crank on the gas chamber going in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
far too many, but a bunch. Yeah.
Like a bunch of them got awards there. I'm not saying that, you probably had to smelt a bunch of stuff you found in your grandfather's closet, but I'm just saying.
We could just not say those things, or we could keep them. You could keep saying those. No, my grandfather cleaned his clothes.
This guy, and he had supporters and sympathizers until the very end. His lawyer's summation, hailing Patois as a hero of the resistance, won a standing ovation from the courtroom audience.
Amazing.
There were so many people that completely believe this guy's
This
entire
guy's
story.
fucking Michael Jordan.
He really is. He's amazing.
However, the judges and the jurors held a very different view after deliberating for only 3 hours. That is a mere 90 seconds for each of the 135
Tell me, Larry,
criminal
how many
charges.
times do you think he lied to us? And it's like, I want to say 93% of the words out of his mouth. I think the
93%.
conjunctions were not lies, but that's just because they
Technically.
were making sentences.
Yeah.
He was found guilty of 26 premeditated murders. On the day that he was set to die by guillotine, the guillotine malfunctioned in the morning, and his execution was postponed.
Lucky day.
By
Lucky
3:30 a.m., a portable guillotine was delivered to the prison, assembled, and ready to do its grim work by less than an hour later.
Somebody lost a job.
Yeah.
He
He just sent in the same assistant to go like fucking sabotage the first one.
How does a guillotine malfunction? It just drops,
Oh my
right?
god! There's a jawbone just stuck in the mechanism.
Isn't that something? Harold, did
It's
you not
fucking-
clean the guillotine?
I'm sorry, and it's like, Bertois fucking Igor's like standing inside going like, yes, I did as you commanded.
Well, it doesn't seem like you did. All right. Well,
And of course, when it came time to approach the guillotine, one of the witnesses noted that Patois, quote, moved with ease as though he were walking into his office for a routine appointment. Before he was strapped to the guillotine sliding table, Patois warned the observers, "Gentlemen, I ask you not to look. This will not be pretty." The blade dropped at 5:05 a.m., and according to witnesses, Patois was smiling as his head tumbled into the basket.
Cool.
like a real Frenchman.
This guy.
This
guy.
is goof. I would say the guillotine is one of the most comfortable ways to die. I think it's
No, it's not.
I
No.
still, I think it's better than the gas chamber.
I've done some research on the
Oh,
guillotine.
really, Marcus?
Yeah, I wonder why though. But
Why
no,
I've
it's
done
fine.
the
I-
research
Yes, tell us
because
about
I'm a curious boy.
We're all curious boys over
Okay.
here.
So explain to me why, because in my personal opinion, I'm just going to say this. If I had to be electrocuted or in the gas chamber, I would take the guillotine any day. Or hanging. I would rather have the guillotine.
There are some theories that the human brain is still conscious and working for up to 6 minutes after.
I'm getting
the
those
hand is
extra
severed.
minutes. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I read this account of a doctor who said that he was given
Yeah.
permission to experiment on the head immediately after the
I've heard
after
this,
the
yeah.
He's
guillotine.
going, hey, how you doing? How you doing, buddy? Hey,
No,
hey, give me a
that's
candy bar.
exactly what he did. He put the head on a table, and he said the guy's eyes
Like
were
fucking
moving.
Reanimator?
Like exactly like Reanimator. He said the guy's eyes were still moving, and when he shouted his name, he said that the eyes opened larger. That there was still some recognition left
I'll
in
take
this
it. I
guy's
like it.
brain
I
for
like
up to
it.
6 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, it's this
6
way,
more
yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drain
Just some
it.
sick dude just grabbing it and just being like, fucking suck my dick, suck my
So-
dick. Just taking the head, just like, suck. Yeah. And now, I gotta say, his lips worked for a solid 6 minutes right after he died, and that's all I
Feeding him a
needed.
hoagie and stuff to watch it just like fall down. That's
Oh,
kinda
look, he
fun.
loves the ice cream. He loves ice cream.
What's the character from Futurama that's just a head?
There's a
bunch of
a
them.
bunch of them. Yeah, all
that's
of
a
everyone from the
possibility
past
then.
is ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, Nixon.
Nixon's
Yeah.
the biggest one.
But,
Yeah,
So it's a possibility then.
It's
You just
definitely-
Yeah,
have the
absolutely.
head.
Yeah, definitely happened in
Yeah.
a cartoon. It could
Yeah,
definitely
just-
happen in life.
I mean, it's 6 minutes. 6 minutes and the human brain
I
still
mean,
works.
of course, it could be complete and total bullshit. It might
Your
be
brain's doing something.
the brain's doing something until the
Can
oxygen.
it be president?
If you get it in a machine.
Yeah.
until the oxygen runs out of the brain is still functioning.
Again, I still like it. I like it. I like it better.
I'd see it. I'd see a live leak video of it.
Yeah.
That's for certain.
Because
Yeah.
when you get the lethal injection, your body, although you're paralyzed, you're still feeling and you have full brain function for the vast majority of the entire 10-minute process.
Yeah.
Really?
And they say you
Oh,
are.
yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
They say you are still feeling a fair amount of pain.
Yeah.
A lot of pain.
Well, this has been fun. This
Well,
last
just
bit
don't
was
kill
great.
anybody, you know? And then you don't have to worry about lethal injection.
Well, this is great.
this
I
is
learned
awesome.
a lot.
So yes, so it's Mr. Cummins.
Yep, Mr. Cummins and Mr. Petois.
Now, just knowing, like Mr. Patois, if you ever, like, it's exact. You know, be like Patois. It's like
Have
be
we
like
said
Mike.
his-
Go out there if you really feel like you can't make it. There is a pee pants lunatic who was a doctor, a soldier, a mayor, and a murderer and a resistance fighter.
Yep.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Not that. Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Don't
But
do
I'm just
that.
saying,
Don't do like what he did.
You could learn a new skill.
Yeah, we're just saying
That's
that,
great.
if this guy can, live a full and healthy life. He also had a wife and a child.
He did lots of shit.
He was a father and a loving husband.
Look at this.
Isn't that nice?
I mean, he was definitely a loud father, a loud husband, I imagine.
Sure.
Grabby father, grabby husband.
yeah.
If that's French love, then that's French love.
Boy, that's passion.
It is passion.
So c'est la vie.
All right.
C'est
Goodbye.
la vie.
Au revoir.
Couple of wartime killers. Well, I guess we'll
Et
say.
c'est temps.
I did get asked we got asked on Facebook, what does magustalations mean, or Twitter, and I don't know,
I don't know.
but we just
No.
say magustalations.
Me gusta les champs.
That's good. That was a good one.
Bread and cheese.
I mean, I think it's a form of I like and congratulations.
Isn't that
Sure.
something?
Yeah, so I like congratulations.
I
That's-
like congratulations.
Well, we're not going to stick with that one.
El mío es
All right. Hail yourselves,
que
everybody.
Paris.
Hail safe. And thanks.
Aquí.
thanks so much for everyone who came out to the live show.
Please
It was
keep
a-
coming
it
to
was a
live show. It
wonderful
was so
time.
much fun. We really do have a legitimate group of attractive, wonderful
Oh, yeah.
fans. We got some sexy.
Everyone had 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 arms.
Everyone's out there having fun.
Yeah, but if you
Meeting
don't
people.
have 2 arms,
I want to
and
see
2
the
legs,
last podcast in live. That's the place where if you want a date, that's the place where you should come.
Yeah.
Come to it because you're gonna like-minded people. We got into a lovely, morbid conversation
Yeah.
after the show that I could only have with people that I know are into it.
I know it. It's
Oh,
very nice.
absolutely.
And
Our
maybe,
next-
maybe you have a date, but maybe your date brings a friend. You know, and maybe she's real hot. Something like that. Maybe I'm on stage telling jokes. She gets all
This is
turned
desperate.
on.
This is
That's
desperate.
This is real desperate.
Oh, I see. Okay, there,
You're being
there
a real
it is.
patois now.
So, oh, okay, all right.
Our next live show is on December 28th at 10 p.m. So be sure to come on out for that one. It's going to be another wonderful
Christmas.
one. Christmas time.
Fuck you, Jesus.
All right, hail
Bye,
Satan,
Red.
everyone. We'll talk to you soon.